But there's something that's really, 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 really bothering me about this Roe v. Wade situation, right? And I'll try not to go too long on it because it could get me angry. But there is something that is taking place at this point in time that is extremely disconcerting. Where, I mean, this has been happening for a long time. People that don't know what they're talking about, having these big proclamations, just following what they hear other people say and whatever, right? But I had a discussion the other day with somebody that was, it got me angry, right? Because the person wanted to present themselves as informed, right? And they wanted to present themselves as being rational. You know, they're not just following, they're not jumping on a bandwagon and because this person say this, they're saying that. So I tried to have a rational conversation with her, but it just kept going left. And it every time I have these kind of conversations, it scares me, right? Because then I think these are the voters, these are people who vote, these are the kinds of people that have an impact on my life. But long story short, with respect to the Roe v. Wade thing, is that the person was making the argument, right? That, and I know they were just parroting a talking point they had heard before, but making the argument that it is what the Supreme Court is doing in the United States through this decision is fascist, right? Now, she doesn't really know what fascist means. She just means, she just thinks fascist means dictatorship, right? In a sense. That is what she thinks dictatorship and fascism to her are synonyms. That's not the truth, but whatever, right? But I realized as the sense she was using the word in. I didn't go down the road of asking her to define fascism because I know that was a lost cause, right? And I asked her, I said, so, all right, I don't understand. How one body is just 5 of them, 5 judges, well, lawyers essentially, who have been appointed as justices, but, you know, they've served as judges, but they're essentially lawyers, right? Who are simply reasoning through decisions. 5 judges could just decide for a whole country and ban all women rights. I was like, but 5 judges did it before, though. This was the overturning of a decision that was made like 50 years ago. So 50 years ago, 5 judges decided that it would be made a constitutional right. And even if you disagreed, didn't matter. If you lived in a state where 100% of the people believe that abortion is not a constitutional right and should be banned, is wrong, that state could have had no say because 5 judges 50 years ago said, fuck you, right? So if that could have happened then, and it was okay then why is it not okay now when 5 judges flip that decision? At that point, I put her brain into a kind of a... it's almost like I saw the rage boil up, right? Because you're kind of realizing you do have a point, right? But then she performed the form of mental gymnastics that they always tend to do, which is, but when they did it then, they were doing what was right. I'm like, well, that's your opinion. You have been led to believe that what you feel about, how you feel about this situation is correct. You have some sort of objectively moral stance on this. There are other people who disagree. They think that that's objectionable. So no, and I said, even if, right? Because she went back to the talking point of the destroying democracy. I was like, wait, pause. I just told you that all the decision says is that states can now decide what they want to do with abortion. How is that undemocratic? Isn't that democracy at work?
And no. Just no. What's going to make it even better is that they're going to have midterm elections just now. So, if the state decides to do something that that majority of the people disagree with, then you vote to suit.
Right. Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So yes, it's democracy, but then you can get to see the democracy play in your favor.
But no, but not just this, not just that, but the elected officials that are in power in your state now won democratic elections. They were democratically elected. So if those democratically elected officials that you elected in your state decide to make a particular decision, then isn't that democracy at work? And then, like you say, if you think it was unfavorable, you could change. Because what will be happening in November isn't necessarily legislative elections in some of these states, right? So you might be able to change elements of the legislature of your state. But nonetheless, the point is, whenever it comes time to change the legislature of your state, the lawmakers, you can do that if they are making laws that you know. But isn't that the agreement that we all sign up for when we say we live in a liberal democracy? So how is that not democracy at work? That is exactly what is supposed to happen the reverse, which would be 5 judges out of 9 deciding for a country of 330 million people that this is the only way that the law is going. Now, again, as I say, I know there's a lot of things people don't understand with respect to how that operates, right? But what angered me, what really, really got to the basis of it, though, Naldo, is that I started to realize that, I should have known this, but people really, really, really don't care. They really, really don't care. They've just, listen, I think this is good, and democracy, because what she almost admitted was that something is only democratic when it goes the way I want it to.
Yeah.
That is essentially what the point she's making. Democracy is only democracy when the thing I want works.
I think there's a reason for that, though. Which is a conversation we don't want to have. And when I say we, but people on the whole, because here's the thing about it, right? And I think it's something I had to kind of recognize. And I don't know if it's because people don't know how to lose. Why I say that is because, okay, so yes, in democracy, the majority voted for these people, right? But then you still have a minority who didn't, right? And then these people who won the election could now make the decisions that the minority wouldn't like, right? When I say the minority voters, right? I'm just saying for the people who listen, right? Now, the thing is, at that point, that minority just feel like the whole world against them, the whole system against them, and I think it's because we do appreciate or do understand the fact of losing. My team lost in this situation, so I had to kind of take the licks. You understand what I'm saying? Whatever happened at this point, I had to take the licks because my team didn't win. So it's either my team regroup, or me and my squad and whoever we organize it, so that my team could win the next time around, so we could get things that go in our favor and do things the way. But I think we live in a time, and it probably was like that ever since, where the people who on the losing side, who team isn't in power to make the decisions, they always feel like they're being robbed, or they always feel like the system against them. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand, but I think in this instance, what makes it even worse is that the group that is losing now is a group that thought they thought they were in the ascendancy. As somebody was saying this too the other day, and I think when we were talking about the Dave Chappelle comedy where he made jokes about transgender people, or whatever, I mentioned this as well. What is irking a lot of those people is that they thought we were on a march in one particular direction, right? We were moving away from certain ways of thinking, and they thought they were in the ascendancy. They thought, all right, a certain culture, we're going along a certain cultural line. This is this way of living. We are the ones enforcing the rules. We tell you what to say, what's okay, what's politically correct. We tell you the opinions you have to have, the ones you have to keep in your head. And even if you keep it in your head, once we know you're thinking it, we go, come after you still. They thought they were the enforcers of what is socially acceptable. And they have a real problem with the reality check that's hitting them. And the thing is, they like to accuse the other side of doing that. They like to say, oh, you all want, in the case of America, they like to be like, oh, they just want back their America. They want to go back to their America where they were the ones in charge and they were telling, they could be racist and misogynist and whatever. They would accuse the other side of that. But it's the same thing they want. They are now saying, wait, we thought we shaped America now. We thought how we operate, our values, our cultural norms, they were going to be, we were gonna impose that on everybody.
And if we go against, we will condemn you. And
we would be the ones as the gatekeepers. But now, the ruffians, the knuckle draggers, as they would call them, they are the ones, at least that's what they would consider them. I'm not saying they are that. But they are telling them, hey, no, things could go in the next direction. You thought it was going this way, all the way. Pump the brakes. We have some power here too. And when that happens, they are going ballistic because they think, but the thing is, this person who's talking here is not even living in the States.
Right, yeah.
So she's even formed part of that dynamic. She's simply...
Well, I mean, there'll be no argument with this person picking up...
Right, the talking points.
Of particular mass media outlets.
Yes.
Twitter and these things.
Yes. And the other thing that I just couldn't... She said over and over and over that women's rights shouldn't be up for debate, right? In other words, you shouldn't be able to legislate against women's rights, which is true. And this is why I was trying to explain to her what the crux of Roe v. Wade was, which is simply that, yes, in a democracy, you're able to make laws, and majority voting people and the people they voting can make laws. They make laws on behalf of the public. And it's basically a majority rules sort of thing. But there's something called a constitution, which kind of lays down basic rules and says, okay, you can make any kind of laws, but there are certain principles and values contained in this document. You can't transgress against those laws. So whatever laws you can't make certain things laws, because those things are incontrovertible. You cannot challenge them because they are basic human rights. The argument that was made in Roe v. Wade is that a woman's right to an abortion is one of those rights. No, it's not written in the Constitution. So you have to interpret the right to privacy to contain a right to an abortion. And the justices who decided Roe v. Wade 50 years ago felt that was an interpretation that was fair. And some people have made an argument against that now, and they have convinced the judges that are there now that that's not the case. Now, we could have a legitimate argument about whether it is or isn't. But the point is, it is not clear. It is not. It wasn't written in the Constitution. You understand? So it comes down to whether your interpretation of the right to privacy contains that or not. So you can have that debate. But if you want to say that women's rights are not are incontrovertible, they're not up for debate. I understand and I agree with what you're saying. But some people would say that someone's right to life is not up for debate. And you have always heard it framed as a women's rights thing. But there's another portion of the population that, in my opinion, quite legitimately feels like, yeah, but it's also another person's right issue. And we could have that debate again. But you have taken it on board in your brain that this is simply a woman's rights issue. And you are acting out emotionally from that perspective. But how about you stop for 1 second, and then she started to go, but they want, and what they go do next? And they go, hey, it's not about what they go do next. It is simple.
Because
deal with the argument of what is being presented to you now.
The thing is, they make it seem like if with this overturn, like they burn the Constitution. That's what they're making it seem. Like they light the Constitution on fire. And now we just doing what we want. And we could do whatever we want. Yeah. That's what it's making it seem.
Which is, again, absolute nonsense, right? Because some people would say, reading into the right to privacy, the right to kill another human being because the human being is in your body, that seems to be a stretch of the Constitution to say, because again, there are people in states who could legitimately argue that this is not a right to privacy issue. And they're saying, listen, that's a human life that's inside of you. And I don't think that your right to privacy extends to killing another human being. Now, again, you could argue if it is or isn't a human being. I don't know how you could argue that, but if that is the argument you want to have, fine. But you cannot argue that it is crazy for people to feel like, hey, this is not just about your rights, It's kind of about the rights of somebody else.
Possibly two people.
Or-
The man as well.
Precisely, exactly. So there are other considerations to be made. And she, as I said, she just, it's almost like if, you know, when you get a blue screen on the computer. Yeah, it was like if, and then it went like from that into rage. I was like, why does this get people so emotional about it?
Nah, a lot of people, you know, I've been seeing a lot of things on social media, and I chose not to engage in the conversation because I think a lot of people don't even know, they don't understand what has happened. They watch the post and they realize that, you know, a lot of people don't even understand that it is up to the states now. Obviously, you would disagree with my statement in terms of, because as you would say, you know, is if you have the means to do it, but if I'm living in a country where I don't agree with what's happening in this state and I can move to the next state, and even though I do have the means to do it, I'll find the means. Because if I really can't live here because of I'll find the means and I'll move to a state where I think I'm more comfortable. I'll move to a state where I can do what I want in that regard. So for me, I don't understand why people behaving like that.
And this is when you posted the thing online, it was not too long after I was having that conversation, and I was like, but you living somewhere.
Yeah.
You understand? After all of this, I said, but you living somewhere where
abortion is illegal.
You're
Totally.
dying.
Yeah.
You're dying. No, it's not like it's illegal in Port of Spain to go down Cedros and do it. No, it's illegal all over the two islands, right? So, and I know, see you on the road petitioning, and you've managed to live your life. And so what really going on here? What are you really reacting to? This is what social media turning people into, you know. This is what she has zero, and I mean zero right to be behaving the way she's behaving. Because when you think of all of that, because I think even after and I see how she behaving, and then I was like, wait. Because I was going to ask her if she ever had an abortion or something, why she's so emotional. I was like, wait a minute. Wait. But you live in Trinidad. We don't have abortion here. So why you behaving so? Because you are acting like if America is now the land of, you know.
Americans will tell you America is the worst place in the world because of this.
Right.
You understand? It's the worst place in the world.
Yes.
Like, so Trinidad fall off the map. It fall off the map. Because abortion illegal, current could go and a tree could fall on and current across the whole country.
Yeah, it had nowhere where we legal. Right? It decriminalized, but not legal.
Right.
It have nowhere, no part of Trinidad where that is. There's nowhere where prostitution is legal. We do have gay marriage. That is still illegal. So all these things that you say, if they were to change all those things in the States tomorrow, these people right here in Trinidad will be on social media kind of, oh God, America has fallen as it will. You're living in a place where all those things are actually the law right now, and you're living. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, if I tell you I want to migrate to go to the States, you say, but you're an asshole.
Yeah.
You in a mad people country. You go in a mad people country. Hey, I know if you realize, but all them things you're talking about is happening right here.